So the title of the Dharma talk is, in line with the 50th anniversary celebration, it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the journey continues. I'm not sure what you're going to talk about. I'm just wondering whether you can tell us any jokes, but anyway, whatever you say, we'll be very happy to listen.
How long do I have?
You have
to live.
For this talk, right now it's what? So I think we're 4 o'clock. We're finishing up at 4 o'clock. You can go over. It's okay. Then we just do a closing.
10 minutes.
Yeah. No, you can do 30 minutes because I think the plan was to do a 30 minutes talk.
Oh yeah, but the time has run out.
You know, it's very hard to get Ajahn Brahm to do anything.
Yeah, because I belong to nature.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
we understood that.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, a little Dhamma talk. The journey continues. I'll just do Namo Tassa first of all. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sammasambuddhassa. Excellent. So the journey continues. This journey never stops. But I always remember whatever I do, wherever I go, I don't really go anywhere. I love to have those perceptions of just not going anywhere, just being here more, and trying to find ways of wherever you are in this world. If anybody asks me to give a talk, you open your mouth and the talk comes out. And that's one of the reasons why if ever I can't talk for one reason at COVID time, or you're not supposed to give a talk that night, I'm sure I talk in my sleep. Just that tendency to be able to explain the Dhamma to other people, or to try and inspire other people, and to try and say something which, when you first start talking, you haven't got a clue what you're going to talk about, but nevertheless, the journey continues, and it's lovely to call it a journey, and with that journey, when you're always in this present moment, time doesn't really make any matter to it at all, and all that time, when you are living your life as a monk, as a monastic, as a layperson, as a Buddhist, you respond to what is needed in every moment. And I'm very happy to have been here to listen to all of the things which people have said about what they think I am, who they think I am. And that sometimes, I'm sure when other people have praised you, sometimes you feel that, my goodness, who are they talking about? But nevertheless, you see there has been a great result. It's one of the reasons why I would ask people, whenever you do receive any praise, please receive that praise. And don't just dismiss it. Don't just think, I'm only a small monk, I'm only a sort of a junior nun, I'm just a baby nun. You're much more than that. And when people praise you, what does it do to you? When people say thank you, and they really mean it, they thank you a lot. When you receive it, number one, you're acknowledging how they feel, and just acknowledging the reality of how they feel. If you just say, that's nothing, what you're actually saying is, I don't believe you, or you're lying, you're saying this for some reason or other, which I can't really understand. They're saying that because what you've done for them has made a huge difference in their life. And you acknowledge that. And you never take a sense of responsibility for it and thinking you're so great and so wonderful. You just rejoice in the fact that you said something which has really meant something to somebody and has changed their whole life. That's a beautiful thing to rejoice in. So now I'm happy to have come here this afternoon and to learn how to rejoice in all the things you've said, about this person called Ajahn Brahm. And thank you for that. What that does, believe it or not, that encourages you, gives you energy. It's a long time ago I'd reject all of that. Oh yeah. I'm only doing my job. No, it's more than your job. It's more than your job when you do something to serve and help other beings. And when you do serve and help other beings, the results are incredible. And so when somebody just comes up and says thank you to you, please receive it. And don't just reject the thanks and the praise. Because one thing which I have seen when you do get praised for something, you tend automatically to want to do it again. I'm just thinking that if I just, again, go to Leha, that you are one of the people who just really made this happen today, and this whole idea of the 50th anniversary thing. I didn't do much at all, except to come along and see what's happening. But nevertheless, thank you, Leha, for all that hard work you've been doing. And you should feel very happy with yourself. And everybody else who has joined in and contributed, today and what happened before, you should always, rejoice in what is really good. And when you rejoice in what is really good, it gives you energy, it gives you health, it gives you happiness. And what that means is that I can come next week and ask you to do something else. And you say, yes, yes, yes. It is true, because that's how the world works. And so when you have occasions like this, it's wonderful. The BSWA and all the people involved in this, we've just been not just praising myself, but praising others as well. And it's wonderful to be able to do that. How many organizations get into trouble and we just have a meeting to find out where we went wrong so we don't have to do it again? We kind of never do that. I never think that's really a good way to actually improve. We learn ourselves from our mistakes, and when we learn from our mistakes, we actually grow. And that's one of the things I haven't heard mentioned so much here, that is where we came from. When I first came over to Australia, I think you all know the story why I came here and why I stayed here, why I haven't been able to leave. And that was because of Ajahn Chah, what he told me. I made that resolution I would never go anywhere except my teacher asked me to go, and I would never come back until he asked me to come back. And then he sent me to Perth about 42 years ago. And once he sent me here, a few weeks later, he had a stroke, he couldn't speak anymore. So he was unable to ask me to come back. And that's why I've been stuck here. Happily stuck here. But it wasn't just for that. It was just, you learn how to grow in a place like this. And you see what everybody, each one of you, have done over those years. We said that first place we had in Magnolia Street, a very small house. And because, I love doing maths, even these days I love doing Sudoku puzzles. Don't give me any more. I always have to be very careful when I say what I like. People give me so much of it, out of your kindness. But nevertheless, I just remember just looking at the accounts. They're very easy to look at because there's nothing much in the bank. The house was valued at $50,000 in Magnolia Street, and we had $49,000 in debt. That's all we had, $1,000 equity. So we weren't exactly a very promising organization. But you always had that confidence, as we were saying earlier, and that's so important, the confidence, and didn't really have any goals, I must admit. I just wanted to sit there and practice and meditate. But then, of course, these goals, tests came up, and you just decided to give it a try. Many people at that time thought that we would never survive. They'd said many years later, they said, well, we saw you as a young organization, new organization in Magnolia Street, Buddhist Society, West Australia. But, they never thought that much would come of us. But over those years, that consistency, staying here, doing the best we possibly can. And over those years, see all those milestones, crazy milestones. Just even getting Magnolia Street, getting Bodhinyana Monastery, sleeping on doors. Actually, you got it wrong in many ways. The first place I slept in when I went to Bodhinyana Monastery was not a door. That was like a luxury, sleeping on a door. It was actually, I couldn't find my door. It was so poor that my flashlight batteries ran out. We didn't have any other batteries to replace them. So I got lost in the forest. I just slept to the root of a tree. It's very cold. But then you had a lot of appreciation for how kangaroos must feel and all those other animals. But nevertheless, we just, it was a place to sleep, and I slept in worse places when I was a young monk. And so, little by little, we grew, and as one project was completed, then we looked at other projects, and then we looked at another project. And some of those projects I thought, oh, we'll never complete this. So after we fail at this, then I can retire. No one have any confidence in me anymore. But every time we had a new project, there was always, it worked. And that's a weird thing about the Buddhist Society of Western Australia and every other project we got involved in. Every one of these projects succeeded. Can you know any of the projects which went wrong in all of our lives, Dennis?
Not really.
Thank you. You made me worried there a minute. And sometimes I ask myself, why is that? 50 years have been a really successful Buddhist organisation, community organisation. There are some things which I would always like to emphasise. Somebody mentioned it just slightly when we're talking about inclusivity. We've always made sure we never looked at this as being a Thai Buddhist monastery. And all the people who come here who are Thais, they wouldn't like that. It's not a Sri Lankan Buddhist monastery. It's not a Burmese Buddhist monastery. It's a Buddhist monastery. I always made that very clear to myself and to others. And it's not just disciples of Ajahn Brahm. It's disciples of the Sangha, as I mentioned earlier. And so when you get the foundation pure and inclusive, often you think to yourself, what would the Buddha want this Buddhist society to be in the future? Not what I want to be, not what we have plans to be. How can we know how we can serve as a Buddhist community into the future? And one thing which will have to be is when we have inclusivity. So all types of people from all types of land. This is not an Asian Buddhist community. It's a Buddhist community. Okay, it lives in Australia, but it is much bigger than that. So they have all these other organisations around the world which we support. So I think that soon we'll have to adjust the name of this organisation. Instead of the BSWA, take off the A. Buddhist Society of the World. And then later on we can go further, BSU. Buddhist Society of the Universe. But you can see that sometimes how things limit us. We have all these other organisations we support, we go to, and all the people we saw, overseas in Santi Monastery, over in Buddhist Fellowship in Singapore, and so many other monasteries all over the world. And they come to us, we go to them. It's wonderful that we have these connections with one another all over the place. And I like that, and I want to encourage that. One of the latest places is over in Europe, not just in UK, but over in Poland as well. How many people from Poland come here? There's lots of them. And then we got Sri Lanka, obviously. We've got an Ajahn Brahm Society in Sri Lanka already. But it'd be wonderful to have, all these places which, because we can't support them physically or materially, but we can support them just with inspiration. And for some reason or another, that inspiration works. It can bring people together. And that's also why, in a talk which I gave a couple of weeks ago here, the talks which are given, which are popular here, I get them translated over into so many different languages. And it's not just into Polish. I read the little article in the booklet about some of those talks. About 37 million copies of talks have been downloaded in Poland. Is that right?
It sounds right to me. Is that,
Yeah. And there's a huge number of people over there who would really benefit from Buddhism, but not just me, from everything. And when we have that great sort of connection with so many people in this world, we can use it to create a greater sense of peace and happiness in this world. The story I was saying was just how when people over in Eastern Europe were asking for some of those talks to be translated into Ukrainian, because the incredible amount of suffering which war gives to those people in those countries. And my comment, and that people followed this, thank goodness to them. Can you please also translate those talks into Russian as well? Because you know what people are like. A lot of people feel embarrassed, that their country, gets criticized, because they're not in control of those wars. It's just, some really crazy governments are in control. And so this is one of the reasons why they followed that advice. And these talks are not just for those people in Ukraine, but also in Russia as well. So that hopefully one day that some of those talks can have an effect, and we can have acknowledge our mistakes, and don't have any reparations or want revenge. Give forgiveness, and learn that you don't need to own land to be powerful. You need to be wise and kind to be powerful. And when everybody can access some of these teachings, they don't need even to be Buddhists. At least they can learn to take the very best of these Buddhist teachings, the kindness, the peace, the forgiveness, and not trying to sort of think justice is getting revenge, but the way we want our world to be for the future is to have a place where everyone can go and see some of the beautiful parts of this world in a state of peace. You don't need to feel afraid. And when you know that your future is going to be safe, and doesn't matter what country or place of residence you come from, you are welcomed as a human being, and you're respected as a human being. You can see just, from all of the talks, from the bhikkhunis, just how they have come from a place of sort of feeling lesser, and that's something which, was harder for me to relate to, but at least, they're getting some respect, and hopefully that respect gets greater and greater, but not just people who are of a different gender, but from people who've got a different orientation in their life. The LGBTQIA+. And thank you for every one of members of that community who've actually spoken to me without actually knowing you and knowing how you feel. Of course, that I would be inadvertently discriminating against you myself. But once you actually see them, hear them, and see what their problems are, you can empathize pretty easily. And it was still one of those events. I like to get out there. I like to be able to give talks to whomever, and sometimes I go to some crazy places to give talks. I remember one place over here, this guy came up to me, and he said to me, he was an elderly guy. Actually, when I say that, he was about 73 or something. Now I'm his age. But he said to me, he was gay, and he said, religion has been very cruel to us. And the way he said that just was like a knife which went right in. And I was heterosexual. I didn't understand what it was like to be gay. I had no personal experience. But when you could feel his pain, then you never wanted ever to be discriminatory against anybody else. And that's one of the lovely things which we can do here. I don't know how many of you belong to LGBTQIA+, but all the people which I have trusted from that community have done wonderful things in this world. And you saw one earlier on one of those talks, not the nun, but one of the monks who gave a talk this morning. brilliant. I'm so happy that my job is, to use my respect and authority which I have. I often say as an old monk, I've already been excommunicated from Wat Pah Pong, so they can't do anything more to me. So I've often said, doesn't matter that, if you want to be ordained, I'll ordain you if I possibly can. So you're not afraid anymore. Never actually was. You want to make sure this wonderful path is opened up to everybody in this world. And any heat which comes, I'll take that heat. I can enjoy a lot. Well, that means also the journey continues to get this Buddhism which we teach in this world to be more, again, inclusive. With that inclusivity and that kindness and care for all beings. How many times have you chanted that? May all beings be happy and well. In that all beings, which one do you exclude? Some of us always exclude something or somebody. And that's not being a Buddhist. May all beings be happy and well, no matter who they are. And that really means that, no matter who they are. When you give that kindness to all beings, even the beings who are doing some silly things in this world, blowing other people up, nevertheless, you still give the happiness, the wish for well-being to all beings in this world. And then you can feel the power of this Buddhism. And that's a kind of powerful teaching which doesn't exclude anybody or make anyone afraid. And that's one of the reasons why I think that this Dhamma has grown so powerfully well, in this little city of Perth, spreading to so many places in this world. And I know when I first came here, and some of the monks and my friends over in Thailand said, "Why do you go into Perth?" And I said that because Ajahn Chah sent me here. And he said, "Don't you realize that Perth is the cause for old age, sickness and death?" Okay, thank you for getting that. You asked for another joke. But no, for some reason or other, it doesn't really matter about the place you're in. But what is really important is what you make of what you have. And over all these years, we've managed to keep a very pure and beautiful form of Buddhism, which has been inclusive, and we have managed. And again, it isn't just me. It's each one of you, and always being really supportive. Even for the bhikkhuni ordination, you have to thank Ajahn Brahmali for just standing right behind you, saying, "Yeah, let's do this," and going through whatever we had to deal with. And because of that, and many other things, which we have done over these years, it's been taking Buddhism, not just Buddhism forward, but taking the culture of our community forward for everyone who is here. And hopefully not one of you feels you don't belong in this place, no matter where you are from, where you were born. I always remember what Ajahn Chah used to tell me. He used to say, it doesn't matter where you are born. Nationality is just so worldly idea. But he said what's really important is to tell people, as he would tell people when they asked him where he was born, he said he came from the womb of his mum, his mummy's tummy. That's where he was born. It doesn't matter where your mummy had to be at that time. Look, I always remember, Ajahn Santuti. Ask him, where he was born. What nationality is he? Indonesian. He was born in Indonesia. Ajahn Santuti. His mother and father escaped on a boat from Vietnam, so his culture was Vietnamese. Went to school in Australia, Australian passport, Australian citizen, but he was born in Indonesia. I kind of like that because it just shows just how everyone gets mixed up. And the more mixed up we are, the more we can identify with one particular culture or one particular place of origin or one particular way of expressing your gender. And where we can have that much more sense of openness, then there's much more freedom and happiness in this world. That's one of our advantages. Now, all of those teachings, what I'm saying, are right there in the suttas. So we don't have any baggage, from a past which is kind of tied down, to ideas which have long passed their use-by date. And we can create a beautiful Buddhist society of Western Australia, where everybody is included, everybody is accepted, and they can grow. I know it's wonderful to be able to encourage more people to ordain, just do it. And I'll tell you one of the things which frustrates me, and that is when good people want to ordain, you can't give them a chance because there's not enough places to put them. I'd like to have so many huts, and so many kutis for male, female, everybody, that everybody, if you wanted to ordain, just come and ordain. Give it a try. But now, there's so many regulations and council approvals and stuff. But one day that might happen. 50s, 60s, I know you understand why there are kind of monastic rules. They're not rules of the Vinaya. They say if you're over 50, in nuns' monastery, they can't ordain you. You can see why, because they haven't enough young nuns to be able to look after the old ones. Really? There's always ways of finding solutions to problems like that. We can always just, what solutions?
Support nuns' monasteries.
Yeah, no, not just support with funds. It's actually just support with making sure there's opportunities for even nurses to go and look after the old monks. Yeah, I'm sure it can be done. Because look, there's so many people here, I'm just looking at Bill. I don't know why I'm looking at you, Bill. But you've served so much for such a long time. How old are you now? 75. Why can't we just make sort of an opportunity, say for Bill, if he wants to? If you want to be a bhikkhu, why can't we let you come? Give it a try. And sometimes, if you ever had that feeling, I'm just being honest and open, if you ever had that feeling, Bill, that you really wanted to become a monk, and I had to say no because there wasn't a space for you, that really hurts me. I feel that in all those years of being a leader of this community, I haven't done my job to make these things possible for you. I'm just being for the journey continues for the future years. We don't discriminate against your gender identification, male, female, your LGBTQIA+. Why should we discriminate against age? It's only a practical thing at the moment, but please help us find the solution to that. And when we can, what a beautiful place this will be. I hope it can be done. I might get frustrated and not be able to do it, but all of these things should try and give it a try. Right, Dennis, would you like to be a monk? He serves so much. Anyway, don't tell your wife, otherwise she'll come and do something, I don't know. But anyway, and we do this. Do you want to be a nun over there? I say these things because you value the experience of being a monk or being a nun so much. Why should you keep it to yourself? If it's at all possible you want to share it with others, why not? Fung, would you like to be a nun? Yes. There we go. Okay. No, a lot of times, you see the beauty of this lifestyle. It's wonderful if we could actually make it happen. Okay, I'm only just fantasizing, maybe you might think, but people thought I was fantasizing when we thought we could have our own retreat centre. Our own retreat centre with your own ensuite. Everyone, so that's a ridiculous idea. But you stand your ground, you make it happen. And nuns monastery. And a nuns monastery in the UK as well. That was a kind of ridiculous idea.
You admitted it.
Oh yeah. I love ridiculous ideas because they work. So what other ridiculous ideas can we have, Ajahn Brahmali?
Nuns monastery in Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's coming. That's happening.
Yeah,
Nuns
that's
in
happening.
Poland.
Yeah. Maybe something in Poland. See what happens.
Nuns.
Norway maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Something's happening. Yeah.
it's happening.
Gender inclusive monastery.
Gender inclusive monastery. Good idea?
Yeah.
How many people think that's a good idea? Okay, a few of you nodding your head. Yeah, excellent. Great. So let's do it. So that's the next journey continues. I haven't got a clue which one of those is going to get the traction first, but we'll just see what happens. And so our Buddhist society, we've done so much already to create new ground, so why can't we take it further? Instead of sitting down on our laurels and just think, I've served enough, well, let's see if we can serve some more. Why not? Thank you. Is that okay? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Excellent.
Thank you, Ajahn Brahm. Jia, can you show the next one? Okay, so thanks to Prem's suggestion to include this, so we would like to invite Ajahn Brahmali to lead this.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. So now is a chance to ask for forgiveness, which is a wonderful opportunity. And one of the things what was I going to say now? I forgot what I was going to say already. Yeah, but
I forgive you.
I forgive you. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing to do, to be able to forgive or to ask for forgiveness occasionally, because everyone does things that we are not 100% proud of or kind of happy about. And even if it is a private thought even that you have, you can ask for forgiveness for that. And you'll be surprised, there's actually an example of this in the sutta. There's a monk who is in the presence of the Buddha, and he has some kind of thought about the Buddha. This monk is asking for too much, just a private thought. And then after the Buddha has left, he travels like 500 kilometers or something to meet up with the Buddha to ask for forgiveness for that thought that he had. And that's kind of beautiful, yeah? It's kind of loosening up something inside which maybe you're not quite happy about, which means that everyone can ask for forgiveness. There's probably not one person here, myself absolutely included, who has never had a bad thought or had some kind of stupid, silly thing that they have done. So this is a great opportunity, and when we do this is one thing I learned from Ajahn Brahm. When you ask for forgiveness, you should always do it sincerely, coming from your heart. That's such an important thing, and then it really works. So I'm going to come down here as well. So monastic, would you please join me? It's appropriate to ask forgiveness from a low position. So
Shall I come down too?
you have to sit there, Ajahn. This is your job. So we're going to start with it. First of all, bow 3 times, everyone. And then Namo Tassa together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. And now we're going to do it in Pali language. It's on the on the screen over there. So the monastics will be leading. Acharye pamadena dvaratayena katang sambang aparadang kamatuno bante Acharye pamadena dvaratayena katang sambang aparadang kamatuno bante Acharye pamadena dvaratayena katang sambang aparada kamatuno bante.
It's up to me now to say, Aham kamami tum he hipi me kamitabang, which means I forgive you, please forgive me.
Kamama bante.
And now I give a blessing for your happiness and well-being. Nati me saranang anyang buddho me saranang varang dhammo me saranang varang sangho me saranang varang etena satchawajena sotite hotu sabada.
Sadhu. Please, 3 times.
No, you don't have to ask forgiveness again for that.
Okay, that's good. And so now we're going to share the merit. I guess we're going to sit here while we're sharing the merit. We're going to do the traditional sharing a merit chant with all relatives, etc. So here we go. Edang men yatinang hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Edang men yatinang hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo Edang men yatinang hotu Sukhita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay.
So this is not just for you, all the things we've been doing today has a huge effect on everyone we know and all our relations in particular. So every relation you have in this world, please, we share the merits with them and may they rejoice, even though they may not know what's going on here. May they rejoice anyway in our goodness. Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so shall we finish off with Arahang? Is that a nice thing to do?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
please. Yeah, you're the boss. More? Okay, more. Okay, please.
We
I
have.
think
Okay, you can get up, yeah.